In the early 1990s, the British Touring Car Championship wasn't just popular, it was electric. This was the super touring era. High revving 2-litre engines, featherweight chassis, and racing so close you could smell the brake dust on TV. Every weekend delivered elbows out, bumper to bumper combat.
Goes off onto the grass.
No aero wash like in today's modern GT racing, no tyre management like you'd see in modern day F1, just raw mechanical grip and drivers who treated every corner like it was a bar fight. And in 1992, the championship produced one of the tightest title fights in British touring car history. 3 drivers, 3 manufacturers, and one final showdown at Silverstone that would explode into one of the most controversial moments the series had ever seen. This is the Forgotten Lap. John Cleland in the Vauxhall Cavalier GSI was the fan favourite. He was straight talking and aggressive. His Cavalier was a beautifully balanced front wheel drive machine with a 2-litre inline 4. It was light, nimble and devastatingly consistent. Vauxhall had tested relentlessly over the winter and it showed. Will Hoy in his Toyota Carina E was the quiet assassin, smooth, precise and meticulously clean. Toyota's Carina was the most refined package on the grid. It had a 2-litre 4-cylinder with superb reliability and excellent tyre life. When it worked, it really worked. But Toyota's season had been a roller coaster of big wins and big crashes. Tim Harvey in his BMW 318 was the street fighter. He was tenacious and tactical. BMW's new E36 generation 318 was rear-wheel drive, a huge advantage in traction and rotation, but tricky early in the season. It featured a 2-litre 4-cylinder with roughly 280 horsepower. It had razor-sharp turning once they sorted the setup. By the final round, BMW had transformed it into a title-winning weapon. So, 3 drivers, 3 philosophies. We've seen this before. One race to decide it all. Let's go. In the early season, Vauxhall came out swinging. Their brutal pre-season testing program paid off immediately. Cleland racked up early wins and looked like the man to beat. Toyota, meanwhile, had the pace to challenge for the title when they weren't rebuilding cars. Will Hoy scored big victories, but the team also suffered spectacular accidents that derailed momentum. BMW spent the early season scratching their heads. The new E36 chassis was fast but unpredictable, but as the year went on they unlocked its potential and Tim Harvey surged into contention with a string of late season podiums. By the time the championship reached Silverstone, the final race, the points were razor tight. Any of the 3 could walk away champion. Silverstone delivered classic British weather, making the track wet, greasy and unpredictable, and the rain turned qualifying upside down. The title contenders Cleland, Hoy and Harvey all found themselves mired in the midfield. Meanwhile, the front row was a surprise trio: Jeff Adam, David Leslie and Andy Rice. The championship leaders were buried in traffic, surrounded by rivals with nothing to lose. Everything was set for chaos. From the moment the lights went out, the finale turned feral. Steve Soper, BMW's hired gun, wasn't in the title fight, but he was Harvey's teammate, and he was about to become the most important man on the circuit. On lap 1, Soper was punted into a spin by David Leslie, then collected by Rob Gravitt. His BMW was crumpled at the rear but still running. He rejoined dead last, and then he drove like an absolute madman. Up ahead, Cleland, Hoy and Harvey were locked in a knife-edge battle for 4th, the position that would go on to decide the championship. Out of nowhere, Soper arrived on the scene after a furious charge through the field. On the penultimate lap, he muscled past Cleland, a move that left the Scotsman incandescent. In the chaos, Harvey slipped through as well. Soper then waved Harvey past, giving him 4th place and putting him one hand on the championship trophy. Moments later, everything detonated. Cleland lunged back at Soper into Brooklands, throwing the Cavalier onto 2 wheels as he forced his way through. But Soper wasn't done. Determined not to let Cleland beat Harvey, he cut across the grass and slammed straight into the Vauxhall. Both cars were speared into the barriers. Both were out of the race, and the championship was effectively decided. Cleland delivered one of the most iconic post-race interviews in motorsport history, a volcanic eruption of frustration and disbelief. His fury became legend.
Might get away with that in Germany where he might be Mr. Superstar, but this is clean. The man's an animal.
Soper, for his part, denied any wrongdoing and pointed to his own first lap incident as justification for his aggression. Both teams filed protests against each other, and both drivers were found guilty. Both were fined heavily, but the result stood. Tim Harvey then was crowned the 1992 British Touring Car Champion. Will Hoy finished 2nd, and John Cleland, the man who had led the early season, dropped to 3rd. Vauxhall's only consolation was securing the manufacturers' and teams' titles. In the end, the 1992 BTCC finale wasn't just a race. It was a reminder of what touring cars used to be, a time when the cars were simple, the rules were flexible, and the drivers were not always on speaking terms. When championships weren't decided by tyre strategies or wind tunnel doubters, but by bravery, bruised bodywork, and the occasional flying Vauxhall. Silverstone 92 gave us everything the Super Touring era stood for. The noise, the fury, the tribal loyalty of manufacturers, and drivers who treated every corner like a matter of national pride. It was messy, it was controversial, and it was utterly magnificent. The dust settled and the fines were paid, and Tim Harvey walked away champion. But the moment that stayed with us wasn't the trophy lift, it was the passion, the fury, the sheer full-blooded commitment of drivers who would rather bend steel than bend the knee. And that was the British Touring Car Championship of the 90s, an absolutely unforgettable era, and one hell of a forgotten lap.